Well, he was stupid to pick a fight with Rob and Ariana. He's the toughest kid in school since the grabber got Pinball Vance Hopper.
I wish you wouldn't call him that.
Everyone called him Pinball Vance.
No, I mean...
I know who you mean, jerkface. Even the papers call him the grabber.
Just wish you wouldn't say his name.
Okay, right off now. Let's go.
Hello and welcome. Welcome and hello. This is Wait, You Haven't Seen? It's a show where we talk about movies, and specifically, we talk about a movie at least one of us had never seen before. I'm your host, Travis, a.k.a. TV's Travis. This is episode number 343, and it is the conclusion of this year's GORE Podcast takeover. And this week, we talked about 2021 or 2022's, depending on where you look, The Black Phone. And joining me, as they have been all week, the wicked kitten always getting into mischief, it's Monica.
Good evening. I'm the grabber. I'm Wicked. Yeah, that's right. I'm Wicked. Sorry. Whoops.
The endearing and ethereal Faye.
Hi.
And the dread you've been feeling since you got tossed down in the basement, Wesley.
Well, hello. Oh, is anyone hearing that phone? Wait, what?
So, The Black Phone, written, based on a Joe Hill short, and then written and directed by Scott Derrickson, co-written by C. Robert Cargill, starring Ethan Hawke, Mason Thames, and I cannot remember her name all of a sudden off the top of my head. Where is it? Madeline McGraw. All right, so starting, Faye, with you. You had seen this movie already, right?
No.
Oh, this was your first time watching it?
Yep.
That actually surprises me a little bit. For some reason, I thought you had. Were you familiar with it and just not interested, or?
Pretty much.
Oh.
It's a kidnapping movie with a small sprinkle of horror.
Okay.
Okay.
All
No
right.
big draw.
Monica, how about you? What was your history with The Black Phone?
I saw it, I guess, not long after it became available on streaming. So it wasn't in the theater, but we saw it on the streaming, and, yeah.
Interesting. Wesley, how about you?
I saw it with Monica, so same time.
You
All
think.
No, I'm sure.
You said you weren't sure.
I am sure.
Okay. Well, this was the first time for me watching it as well. I had seen the trailers for it. I'm a fan of Cargill and Scott Derrickson. I like their movies going all the way back for Derrickson back to when I first saw The Exorcism of Emily Rose. And I love Ethan Hawke. I talked about him not too long ago when I saw Gattaca for the first time. And it's interesting because I love Ethan Hawke, but there's a lot of his filmography that I've just missed over the years for whatever reason. But I've liked him in things going back even further. I first saw him when I was a kid in White Fang, the movie. And I've just kind of always liked Ethan Hawke since then. So I saw the trailers for this and I was like, that looks kind of cool. And then I didn't go. And I didn't see it. And it just sort of skipped by. And then Black Phone 2, I start seeing trailers for that. And I was like, oh, they're making a sequel to, okay, I guess it did. I knew it was fairly well liked, but I didn't realize that it was going to maybe get a sequel. So I see that and I'm like, well, you know what? I think it's about time. And Joe Hill, being Stephen King's son, he's got some pedigree there. He's written some interesting stuff. I was like, oh, all right. So, Joe Hill short, Derrickson directing it. I wanted to check it out. And I really liked this. I had a very fun time with a movie that gets dark at times, but there's also a really interesting, family dynamic and some hope involved in it that I really enjoyed. But it did go in some directions that I didn't anticipate when I started the movie, just based on going into it blind of, oh, well, and I probably should have expected some of the supernatural stuff that was going on. But I tried to go in as blind as possible. So Monica, you seeing it kind of after the fact, when it hit streaming for the first time, how did it hit for you? Did you enjoy it? Do you like this movie, or is it just one you're kind of like, it's there, whatever? Like, what are your thoughts on it?
It's I didn't it just wasn't. It's just not something that I didn't really like it. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. Like I want to clarify that, because I say, if I don't enjoy something, it's definitely got good stuff to it that I like, and it is, it's a watchable movie. It's just not in my. There's some stuff to it that are just, it bothers me. Maybe it's like the abuse in it really. It's kind of a lot, and there's no real like resolution to that.
There isn't, but in some ways, for me, that ended up actually being a strength of the story because of what they did with these characters, and I want to talk about that a little bit more. But I can understand where some of this would be a rough watch, because there is definitely like this cycle of abuse that goes on that the movie doesn't take a lot of time to try to explain, but it's integral to what's going on in a way. It's very kind of intriguing the way that the story is structured, both very surface level, but also like what it did for me is it made me ask a lot of questions and like want to explore more of the themes that were going on. So that was kind of where I fit on that. It does the not explaining in a way that I like. And that's a very fine line to walk, where you can not go into an explanation of something, but also not just feel like it needs. The movie doesn't require it, and yet I want to know more, I guess would be the way that I would put it. And Faye, sounds like you weren't all that thrilled with it watching it for the first time.
No, I pretty much for similar reasons. I straight up despise the father.
Mm-hmm. He's despisable.
Yeah. And then just the kidnapping part of it to begin with, even though it's part of the movie. Not a fan of that type of stuff.
I mean, that's understandable. So Terrence, the dad, is played by Jeremy Davies, who is another actor that I love seeing in stuff, because he brings, I don't know what it is about him when he does a role because he is not good. He's not a good guy. I have a lot of notes about how much I don't like him as a character, because he is very abusive, and he's alcoholic, and he's all of the Stephen King-ish Joe Hill type tropes of like bad parent, where but there's something about him in this and there's this cycle of abuse, but also anger and fear that runs through the movie in a thematic way. Mm-hmm. And Terrence is deeply broken as a person, and it causes him to lash out at his kids in a horrible way. And he both feels bad about it and doesn't fully understand, I think, what he's doing. And so, like, there is a humanity to the performance that Jeremy Davies gives, while also just being straight up terrible. And you hate him in scene. Like the scene where Finney wakes up in the morning and dad is spanking Gwen, right? He's got the belt.
Mm-hmm.
That was a rough scene to watch, but it was so well done by everyone in it. Like, it was so well acted. Jeremy Davies is awful. And Madeline McGraw in this movie is phenomenal. I can't believe how good of a performance she gives for her age. She'd been acting for a while prior to this, but she's so young in it, and she gives such an emotional performance. And that scene in particular, when she picks up the bottle of vodka and is holding it out there, and I have an audio clip from it, I'll play a little bit later, but just the anger and hurt in her performance there, for me, was phenomenal. I really, really liked that. And then while all that's going on, you got Finney over in the corner who's too afraid to do anything. And yet also getting angry about that at the same time, both at his dad and I think somewhat at himself. So there's like these interesting layers to the performances that are going on that I really connected to in a way that I wasn't expecting when this movie started. Because I kind of, Faye, thought like you did, it's just a kidnapping movie. And then, oh, no, there's like family trauma going on. And then, oh, by the way, also a lot of supernatural stuff going on. And it doesn't shy away from any of it. I liked those different layers of what was happening in what is ultimately a very simple story. So, Dred, what did you think of the movie watching it the first time and then maybe rewatching it now? Was there any difference between the two viewings for you, or was it kind of the same both times?
So first of all, I also hate the dad, but not for the same
Who's
reasons
gonna
you
be
all.
like, I love the dad, right?
No, no. But this time, watching the second time, I realized why, and it's because he reminds me of Neelix from Voyager, with his hair. It's the same hair.
Look it up,
Yeah,
people.
and I don't like Neelix. Shut up.
Hey, I love Neelix.
But the movie itself, I think both viewings were pretty similar in my enjoyment of the movie.
Okay.
Maybe because I also kind of forgot parts of it. That also says a lot. Overall, it's a fine movie. I'm saying I don't need to rewatch it again after this. I am curious how they made a sequel of it because I don't understand. But sure.
Just wait.
And Ethan Hawke was pretty good as the grabber. I did enjoy him.
One of the things that I think for me works, and I've talked about this a lot, is I love small scale stories. I like when we can focus in on one particular area or one, and this one basically takes place in a basement with some stuff going on in a couple other small locations, but it essentially is a story in one location. But I like that because we spend like the first act of the movie is just getting to know Finney and Gwen and their situation, and Finney's dealing with bullies at school, and I kind of, again, there was your like very stereotypical bullies. The first scene with the fight that's going on where we meet Robin, and my notes on that were like, all right, I get what he's going for, but like you could stop at any point, dude. You've beat the kid. You don't need to keep pounding on him.
It's for the audience.
Yes, you do, to get the kid to actually learn not to fucking do it. Oops. Sorry.
Well, see, and that's where we'll disagree on that, because I think he could make that point, but he went well past making that point. And you're not at that point teaching Moose anything different. Which, by the way, I love when somebody's got a nickname like Moose. That's great. But it sets a precedent, because then right after that is when Finney's dealing with his bullies, right? They follow him into the bathroom. And Robin just walks in, and those three kids are like, nope, I'm noping right out of that, because they saw what he did. So, like, what he did was effective. It's just, for me, it was like, you've got him. Like, the first 5 times you hit him when he's already down, that's plenty. At some point, you go across the line and it becomes just straight assault. Anyway.
It's all assault, just so we're clear.
There's a difference. There's a difference between...
Hitting somebody is assault.
There is a difference between self-defense and assault. However...
I mean, it's still hitting somebody.
This isn't the forum to have that discussion.
I mean, but I want to make sure that it's clear, because, stuff like that should be 100% clear.
But like Robin coming into the bathroom, that scene was great. Also, that scene took me back because they had the pink granulated soap that was in every high school bathroom for most of the 70s and 80s and into the 90s even. So I saw that, and I just saw it recently. I did a watch through of all of the Scream movies, and in the first Scream, they have that exact same like bathroom setup with the exact same soap dispenser. So that just must have been literally every high school at some point. But we had the fight, and then we get Robin and Finney, and we're learning about these characters. And I think that first act has some of the hardest parts in the movie to watch, but also some of the most important in terms of like letting us know who these characters are and setting them up. And we spent a lot of time with Finney and Gwen, and I love their relationship. Those two were a great set of, siblings that get along, and you get really good information about like those two of them have to kind of bond together because of their dad. And there's sort of two ways that can go. It can either divide a family or it can pull the siblings together. And in this case, it pulls them together. And I loved their back and forth because they're the perfect mix of ragging on each other while also being there for each other. And I liked them, and just the performances of the two kids, again, being so young, I thought were really powerful. Monica, did you like Gwen as a character?
Geez, it's like she had all the elements I wanted to like in a character, but for some reason there were parts of her that I found kind of irritating. But feel like she got better towards the end of the movie. Like I don't know if I just got used to her or if I started to change my mind or something, but yeah.
What was irritating about her?
I mean, just like the way that she talked, the way that she presented herself, like in the beginning, it was just bothering me.
Because that was one of the things I kind of enjoyed, was that she felt like a character written to be brash, but it made sense to me for some reason. I love her telling off the cops when they come in to talk to her. That made me laugh. That's very contrived and very written. But it just made me laugh because the principal is sitting there and has to like intervene, and she just doesn't care. But I really liked just the two of them and the interplay between them. So it gives us the connection that then I think makes his abduction hit harder than it would if he just got abducted and early. Like waiting, I think my note was 26 minutes into the movie before we meet the grabber, really. Like we see him in the background. There's a great shot of Robin when Robin gets taken, where it's Robin walking along and we just see the van out of focus and the guy get out of the van, but he's all out of focus. So you see like the outline, you see the top hat and like the flowing coat, and then we just fade to black.
Not to mention after the baseball game.
Yep. And you see like the van driving in the background and scenes and stuff like that, but it's almost a third of the way into the movie before we finally have our inciting incident. And I liked that because it was paced well, and it gave us a lot. And it gave us a lot of who Finney was so that we could then follow his journey after he gets captured. Because once he gets caught and he's thrown down there, there's like the period of time where he's got to adjust just vision alone because he got sprayed in the face with whatever that was. I don't even know what he used because it wasn't exactly chloroform, but it did knock him out. But it also made his vision blurry and all sorts of stuff. But he wakes up and there's these like stages he has to go through, including at one point even saying to himself, like, I'm not getting out of here. And sort of this like almost acceptance of his fate. And then the phone starts ringing. And the movie starts to go in a very different direction from just serial killer abducting kids, which is already horrific. But now we add this supernatural layer onto things. And I liked adding that there because the way they executed it for me was really cool. How he spends so much of the middle third of the movie in getting these phone calls from the different kids, and they're all giving him information. And you keep thinking that it's information to help him escape, but none of it is working. And I kind of liked how that went. And it was all very different, right? It was dig out first, or it was get through the wall and there's a freezer there you can get through, or the cord to climb the window, like all these different things to help him out, but none of it worked. And I kind of liked that. Faye, what did you think of like that whole kind of middle section where he was trying the different things?
It was the best part of the movie. Getting the help from the previous captors to basically dig out and set traps, which they eventually end up becoming at the end.
And that
everything that they told him was used to defeat him.
And that's the execution that I liked. I really, really enjoyed giving us these little pieces of it and him getting more and more frustrated because he doesn't realize that like what he's getting isn't a way to get out. It's a way for him to fight back. But he needs all of those pieces in order to do it. Because if he doesn't have, like, he has to have the hole to capture him in. But he also needs the grating for him to fall and snap an ankle so he can't get back out. And he's got to be taught, the moves by Robin on how to fight back with the phone. And he needs I love the freezer and it's just full of steaks. And then that, Chekhov's T-bones, right? Because that ends up being the way he distracts the dog, which that was a huge ass dog, by the way. It was
Can I say the dog did not seem like he was actually going to be angry? Like, I think he would have been fine if you tried to walk past him. He didn't look mean.
Didn't look mean. Probably a wonderful good boy, but
just a regular bark. It was like bark, bark, bark.
That's a cane corso. I'm not messing with that dog. Like if I can distract the dog to get away, and I'm in that situation, I'm gonna do that.
Plus, you get to feed the doggy.
Yeah,
feed the good dog.
Gets a steak.
I guess that's true. I just feel like he didn't even like he never did that thing where he walked towards it and it snapped at him. It was just kind of like ruff, 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 ruff. I don't know, but the doggy got steak, so we're all happy.
Yeah. There were two good boys in this, by the way, because there was that dog and there was also the paper boy's dog. Mm-hmm. I love that shot of him.
Terrible guard dog, that one.
Yeah.
Well, but I love the shot of the paper boy riding his bike and tossing papers and the dog's just trotting along behind him, helping him out. That was really cool until, obviously he gets grabbed. My, I think, single favorite element of this movie, though, like if I could pick one thing, it was the way the phone calls evolved and how the phone, he would pick it up and there was no one there. And then he'd pick it up and there was a voice. And like that first voice, and he recognizes it, or he when he says, your arm is mint, and he realizes who it is. And it's so well done. But the second time when the first reveal of one of the kid ghosts being in the room with him, I loved that so much. Keeping the audio of the phone, but then visually seeing the kid in the room that he doesn't see at first. And it's only later on that he's like, the way it kept escalating, I really, really enjoyed. And just the visual of one of these kids, ghosts, but then you're hearing it through the phone. Absolutely liked the hell out of that. Monica, did you like any of the supernatural stuff? Did that work for you?
It's so hard to say. Like I did like parts of that. Yes, I'll say that.
What didn't work?
It was a little bit like there was a lot of stuff. It was a lot of things together. I don't want to say it reminded me of Halloween 5 in a bad way, because obviously this movie is much, 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 much better than Halloween 5. I'm just saying, like, it just felt, like there's the bad thing happening, the killer, and then there's the supernatural aspect, and it was reminding me of that, like, in the middle of it, and, at this watching, at least. And it just felt like a lot, but of the two things, the supernatural part is definitely, like, my favorite part. I like the phone.
I mean, I don't
like the ghosts.
I don't think the movie works without that. at all. Like if you just made this the grabber being, because it's the combination of the grabber has created this like closed system, right? Where he takes kids, he puts them in this basement. He doesn't torture them in the sense of like physical torture, but he's obviously, there's torture going on. There's psychological and emotional stuff happening to them. Plus he's not feeding them right away, all this kind of stuff. But it's very passive, but he has so much control in the situation. And even when he first brings Finney into the basement and he says like, do you hear the phone? And Finney doesn't hear it. But then later on, Finney does hear it. And then he tries to like hand wave it away. Oh yeah, the phone, it's creepy when it does that. And it's probably just static electricity. Like because he has to exert control. It's all control based for the grabber, start to finish. And
well, yeah, it's a control fantasy because when they are bad boys and try to escape when he leaves the door open, he beats them.
Mm-hmm.
He spanks them with the belt thing.
Just like his dad did.
Yeah. And it's all control, and the supernatural things are things that the grabber cannot control. And that's what allows Finney to be able to fight back. And so I just kind of like adding that layer in there. And I think if you just made it like, if you don't have those and they're not as prominent and you don't play with that realm, it doesn't work. And then Scott Derrickson, for me, I always like his visual style. And so I liked the way he worked in the ghosts. I'm going to guess that there were a couple of jump scares that got you, Monica, during this. But the one for me that I'm pretty certain did is when Finney turns on his little pen light and he's looking around the room and the kid that's upside down, almost like a marionette. I feel like that one got you.
That one was the creepiest one. I will give you that. That was definitely the backwards crab walk thing. That was super creepy.
Especially when he points. When he points like that, because it's enough that he's just there and like floating, but then he moves and points at something, and I was like, yeah. But so that was the creepiest one, but that one didn't make you jump.
It didn't. Yeah, nothing in this movie really made me like jump. It wasn't. I didn't get that. Like it was a lot of like I was expecting him to get kidnapped, and that it's a different scare. It's not like jump scare. It was more like dread and stuff like that.
Hello.
What about the axe to the head?
Here's the thing that like look, I love so many things in this movie separately. So I love the axe to the head. But the door was just closed just like a little bit too much for me not to see it coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was just a little bit. And I'm like, I see it. I know it. So I didn't get jump scared on that, but it was good.
I saw that coming. Like the second he opens the door, but he doesn't open it all the way. I'm like, well, Max isn't making it out of this scene. It was just a question of what was going to happen to him and how long we were going to drag it on. But it was so well done.
Especially because he starts by, oh, shit, oh, okay. And then he's like, instead of just helping out, he's like, hey, do you want to hear how I found you? Yeah.
And that normally would qualify under the people doing stupid shit banner. But
he's on cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was the stupid shit that he had done was earlier by doing the blow.
Yeah.
So
that made me laugh so hard though. Like the cops being like, you should clean up. And he's like,
what? I loved that.
Oh.
I loved that scene
like,
so much.
So what does he do? Oh, yep, just snorted.
Finish that line.
Mm-hmm.
He did clean it up with his nose.
Yep, exactly. He just hoovered it right up.
Can I
no,
say
I loved
my favorite character
yes.
in the whole movie is Mr. Max. Thank you. He is my favorite thing. And I didn't see him very much, but I love his little, like, it was like that, just a little pinch of like, not so serious anymore in the middle of the movie. It was nice.
Yeah, it was a good dose of levity, and it was also a great red herring because they're out looking, and you think, oh, they're gonna find the house, right? And then, oh, no, it's just some dude in his brother's house, and he's like trying to help them. I love that, where he's got his little conspiracy board, And
Oh,
like,
hey, you guys are working on the grabber?
You gotta see what I got.
Let me show you what
gotta
I've
see
got.
yeah, like he's just all coked out and ready to help. And the police are like, right. Give him, they metaphorically give him a little pat on the head of like, good job. You know what? Don't call us. We'll call you.
He's like, you need my help.
Yeah. But I really liked that as a red herring, because you think one thing and then to like ignore it for a little while, because I kept thinking for the first bit of post abduction, they did a really cool thing with the mask. The mask that the grabber wears. The first time we meet him, he's got just white face paint on. And he grabs him, throws him in the van, and then when he dumps him down in the basement, and he's got that mask with like the blank no mouth to it. Mm-hmm. And then you see him later on with the smiling face, which is creepy as all hell. Mm-hmm. And then the third iteration of it where he's got the glower, the frowning face. But you also get like times where he's wearing just the bottom half of the mask and he takes the top part off. And I loved all the different like versions of the grabber. And so there's a moment early on when Finney says something about like, you killed them or you're going to hurt me or whatever. And he says, no, I'm not going to. And I had this thought that, oh, okay, obviously we're dealing with somebody whose cheese is slid off their cracker and he's got some fractured personalities going on. And that was represented by the different masks. But I kind of like how it is that, but it's also just a reference to his brother crashing at his house. And he has to wait for him to leave or he'll be back later or something. And I liked that. That was like a nice extra piece to that whole pie of, no, it's literally another person in the house.
You keep mentioning food and now I'm hungry. So.
No, sorry. And Monica, you mentioned how like there aren't a lot of jump scares, but there are tense moments.
Yes.
In this. Particularly for me, I will say that my favorite tense moment is when he is trying to get that lock off the front door.
Well, that was tense.
Wait, that was...
Because the reason for it was we'd had the first time that the grabber leaves the door unlocked and Finney goes to leave and then the phone rings. And he, rather than going up the stairs, he goes and answers the phone and the voice on the phone tells him, don't go upstairs. It's a trap. He's waiting for you. And sure enough, that's the first time we see the frown face mask. And it's just Ethan Hawke sitting in that chair, belt in one hand, frown face mask, no shirt. Mm-hmm. And I was like, first of all, Ethan Hawke got into some incredible shape for this because he's got, what I liked is he doesn't have the like shredded physique, but the look of him without his shirt on is like, you wouldn't mess with that. That's like a construction worker.
What do you think Ethan Hawke looks like regularly? Like I feel like he's always like
he's often in very good shape, but he looked bulkier in that shot. Like he had put on some mass. Because he looked like a mason, right? Or a plumber.
He's getting older too though, right? So,
yeah.
You start getting a little thicker.
Dad bod?
Well, yeah, but like, yeah.
Yeah. But I liked that. Like you easily could have had him get like, just shredded to be physically intimidating. But for me, the way he looked in that scene was much more intimidating.
I've never seen the movie, but I've seen like references to it. But did you get kind of like when he's sitting there, like a Cape Fear kind of like
a little bit
to it? Yeah,
because you don't know what this guy's going to do. That's the thing about him. And we have no background for him. So it's just like he's a complete wild card. But yeah, I could see that. Some little, and I think too, it was the shirt, right? He did have a shirt on, but it was like just open. All he was missing was all the tattoos.
Yes. I've only seen the comedic versions of that though. So it's like, the Simpsons, Cape Fear. And
right. But yeah, so we've established that he's sitting up there waiting. So the second time was when Finney has the combination for the lock, or he has the numbers. He doesn't know the sequence, which was also a cool thing. I liked the idea that these disembodied voices, these ghosts, retain some information, but they can't remember things. And so, like, he knows where he wrote the numbers, but he doesn't know what the sequence is. And I like Finney getting frustrated by that. But then he goes upstairs. It's like, okay, he's fallen asleep. Now's your chance. And from the moment he starts walking up the stairs until he finally, like, the grabber gets up, I was just clenched the whole time, waiting. I'm like, oh, what is going to happen? And it's
the music for
done.
it too. Oh,
And then the music dropping out and it just being silence as he's working the thing. And the second he clicks that lock and the dog starts barking, because to this point we had heard the dog when the police showed up at the house and Max was there, right? But we haven't heard a dog other than that scene. So when I'm watching this for the first time, I have not connected that it's the same house. And I have no reason to connect that it's the same house. But as soon as that lock clicks and the dog starts barking is when I have the realization.
Upon second viewing, they do that shot where it's like upstairs and then they go downstairs, but like you don't take that literally, I guess, when you first watch it. And afterwards I'm like, oh, they're literally showing me.
So
like yeah.
Yeah, because I had a note about that scene. I'm like, oh, he's in the basement of the house. Wait, no, maybe not. Maybe that was just a cool transit. Like, they did the perfect amount of baiting the hook and making me think one thing, but it's not. And then, oh, no, it actually is. I liked all of that. But that whole scene with the bike lock, and then he gets out and he starts running, all of that was so masterfully done. Just when he, and again, for Ethan Hawke, because Ethan Hawke is in this entire movie and he's got his face covered the whole time, yet I never question what he's like, what his emotional state is or what he's thinking, which is hard to do. It's hard to act like that. We've talked about that before. Like, one of the things with the Friday the 13th series is when Kane Hodder took over the role, and for the movies that he was in, he made Jason into more through his physicality and the way he acted, more so than the first couple of actors that played Jason. There was something to the way Kane Hodder moved being in a mask the whole time. And I see some of that here with Ethan Hawke. Like, when he stands up, when he wakes up, I mean, because you're waiting for the eyes to open, right, the whole time. But when he stands up and just the turn when he looks at Finney was so creepy. Because he doesn't immediately go after him.
That whole scene where he's running outside and he hits the van, and then I was like, just yell something, Finney. He can't kill you in the middle of the street with people watching. Just like,
well, he did yell something, and the porch lights came on, but he grabbed him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. After he grabs when he's got the knife, I'm like, just say it. He's not going to kill you. He can't. Or if he does, at least you're free. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like he wouldn't have, because like he would get caught or something. You know, like but the kid doesn't know that. I know, because he's just afraid. I'd be afraid too.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm scared.
But yeah, just that whole sequence, and then again, it's deflating at that point for Finney too, because now it's like, well, how the hell I got away and he still caught me. So now what? And I think that's when he finally, is that when he says, I'm not getting out of here? Might have been before that. I don't remember the exact sequence now. But, and then meanwhile, while all this is going on, you've got Gwen who's like wrestling with her visions, her dreams that she's having. And that was a whole other aspect supernaturally that I really enjoyed, because they don't give us too much information, but they give us enough to know, like, oh, okay, so her mom dealt with dreams as well, and that messed her up, and that messed up her dad, because her dad couldn't handle what happened to the mom. And all we know is that she had dreams, and the way her dad puts it is it made her do terrible things, and he's afraid of Gwen having that, which is why you have the whole scene where he's hitting her in the first place. And that's where, like what I was talking about earlier with Jeremy Davies, in that scene where he's hitting her with the belt in the kitchen, it's awful. and it's a horrible, abusive scene, but he's also showing that it comes from a place of fear. He is afraid of what she is capable of, and doesn't want her to embrace it. He wants to, and the only way he knows to deal with it is to try and beat it out of her. Like he's got to. It's not the right method. It's not the right path whatsoever. But he's so afraid he doesn't know how to act, and so his only recourse is to hit her and climb into a bottle. The two worst ideas you could possibly have in that situation, but it's all he knows how to do. So then when you have the second scene where Gwen talks to him and is like, promise you won't get mad. And he doesn't fly off the handle at her, but he's still afraid, and he's trying to like keep her away from the supernatural stuff. And I liked how they towed the line with that and gave us just enough for it to matter for this story without having to have like a long, drawn out exposition of what happened with the mom. So that really worked for me. And I think also Gwen and her are praying, and her prayers for her brother and working faith into it. Because I know Scott Derrickson is not shy about his faith, but he doesn't look at it as a preachy thing. He just thinks that it's important to him, and he looks at horror as a great genre to explore that in. And I liked the way that Gwen is both not what you would think of as a, quote, good Christian girl, but also at the same time it has a deep faith and is constantly praying to and talking to Jesus and trying to get the help. And it's not, she's either not getting it or she's not getting the help that she thinks she wants.
That's when I started liking her, by the way, when she started like swearing to Jesus, like literally swearing at Jesus.
Because
she got me there.
It's a really effective scene, both because it's very funny. It's very out of nowhere. You're not expecting that to happen. You're not expecting those lines to come out of that girl. But also it shows kind of the desperation that she's going through, because she has had these dreams about the other boys getting abducted, and now it's her brother, and it's bad enough when she's just having those dreams, but now her best friend, her brother, is one, and she wants to find him. So I enjoyed a lot of that kind of stuff.
And she does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then her getting out and riding around in her raincoat and galoshes on her little banana seat bike in the rain. Did any of you have a bike like that with a big banana seat on it?
Nope.
Wesley,
Not
I can
that
tell
I
you
remember.
did.
Yeah, nope.
I don't even know what a banana seat is. Are there bananas on it? I don't know.
That's that big shaped seat that she had on her bike. I had a bike like that when I was real young.
I never learned to ride a bike, so no. I'm going to say no.
But I love, like, she's taking pieces out of her dreams and trying to piece them together, because the police are sort of believing her, but also kind of, I mean, obviously not, because typically the police don't buy the supernatural as a decent investigative technique.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they went to her first.
They did, because she had information that there's no way she should have had.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also one of them believed her and one of them didn't. So you had a very good cop, bad cop going on, which I did enjoy. Yeah. But I like her trying to piece it together. And when she gets the last piece of that with the boys standing in the street, and she like falls down and she finds the house, and so she tells the cops about it. What did you think of that ending, the way that it played out, Faye? With how, between both what Finney was doing and at the same time the police and Gwen tracking it down and trying to find it.
I was cheering. It's like, yeah. Yeah. Then of course we get the reveal that it's the other house where the kids are buried.
Bum,
No,
bum,
I did not see that coming.
And I think what I like best about that is that we've already had the red herring of the brother in the house. And so now we're getting the reveal that, oh, no, that's the same house that we thought might have been, but now we're not sure. Nope, it is. And then we get another swerve where, yeah, he's got a different house he's burying them in, but it's laid out exactly the same. It's just across. And then the third layer of it where it's literally across the street from the house all this is going on in is even better.
Mm-hmm.
That was what really got me. Like, it's literally across the street. And even when Finney walks out of the house and Gwen sees him and runs over to him, in the background you see the van parked there. And that's like hiding in plain sight because the cops are all focused across the street. None of them would be looking at that house. Why would they? They'd have no reason to. So I really enjoyed that. But I also like how that's going on while Finney is piecing everything together to defeat the grabber. So.
Yeah. And I loved the final phone call.
Oh yeah. The phone.
Say hello to my friend. He's got an awesome
Say hello
arm.
to my little friend. That's what I was thinking.
Well, so I got sound clips. I want to play some of these. There were some good ones in here. I will say that. The sound design overall was really good. Like all of the stuff on the phone was real good. The way the kids sounded as they were giving him information, and it was just the right amount of crackle for me. First one I want to play is because again, Terrence, the dad, is pretty awful, but this is a pretty good introduction because that first scene where it's Finney's eating his breakfast and we get these first few shots, we never see the dad's face. It's just like the cup of coffee, the newspaper, and all that. And then he sits down and Finney's eating his cereal and you just get, he pulls the paper down.
You think you can slurp that a little louder? I don't think they can hear you up in Boulder.
And that's when I realized, oh, Dad's hung over. Like,
I mean, he was slurping loud.
That could be just perspective, so we feel that way, like what the dad is hearing.
Yeah.
But when you're hungover, drunk, you're gonna hear that sound louder.
Oh yeah,
I get that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no,
well,
not the drunk dad.
And then you immediately follow it up with Gwen coming in the room and she accidentally, like, she slips opening the bread box and it hits the counter. And you're thinking,
sorry, Daddy.
Yeah, and you're thinking like he's gonna flip out at her, and he doesn't, but he's ready to. He is on the edge.
The worst part is every time she said sorry, Daddy, I could only think of the abuse, like over and over again, every single time. It was painful.
Well, Gwen had a few lines that got me that I really, really enjoyed. I like this because it is the ultimate insult, right?
Finney,
I said I know.
then say it.
No.
Are you chicken?
Are you chicken? And his reaction to it and her immediately being like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Like, that's just, for everything that she's said up to that point already in the movie, and the worst thing she could say to him was, are you chicken? I just like that because that feels very relatable to kids that age in that era.
Mm-hmm. Nobody calls me chicken.
I did think of that. I definitely did. I also like,
I think I'll just stick with my current plan and marry Danny Bonaducci.
Which would be a crush at that time.
yeah. No, you're not
Which
going to
was the
marry a
style
member
at
of
the
the
time.
Partridge Family. Okay. So she grabs the bottle of vodka, which at this point we'd only seen the dad drinking beer, but apparently he also drinks vodka. But this, just her.
Hit me again, and I'm dropping it!
That girl can emote. Like, holy crap. That was a powerful scene.
I felt it, and I was saying, just slam it down anyways.
Yeah, just let go.
Well, and what I like is that she does.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to
strong.
call her bluff, and she drops it. Which, I'll be honest, didn't expect. Didn't expect her to actually follow through with that threat. I thought it would be the whole thing where he would do something and she would give up or whatever, but no, she doesn't. And Gwen is strong. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
This exchange between the two of them when they're talking about what's going on, because Finney's very scared of the grabber, like to the point where I had in that clip that opened the show, he's like, don't say his name, right? And we get the idea that there's a rumor going around that if somebody says his name, they get taken. But when they're walking by and they see the search poster for Bruce, and then he says,
You don't think they're going to find them, do you?
Not how they want to.
that one right there, that's, whew, like, that's a rough line. So that
It's
one,
a truthful line.
it is. It's and it set me up for kind of what the movie was going to be. Right there, that line and that reading of that line set me up for the rest of the movie to be prepared for. This is going to get rough. So I did very much enjoy that. This is just her talking to the cops.
Vance got held back twice. I've seen him fight, and trust me, he could kick the shit out of either of you blindfolded.
Gwen, watch your language.
That principal just getting more frustrated as that, because you're watching Gwen ramp up the whole time, and the principal's back there trying to keep things under control, and it's just not working. I mentioned earlier that I like anybody with a nickname Moose.
Moose is a giant asshole.
And so now I have that forever that I can play at any point. I will say that I've known a couple people with the nickname Moose, and they've all been really nice. There was a guy.
Well, that moose wasn't.
No, that moose was not. But I worked for a while, and one of the guys that worked there was named Moose, and he was a very large man, and he could pick up at one point he could pick up bundles of shingles, one in each hand, like a deck of cards, and carry them around, which frightened me because that's grip strength I don't want to deal with. He earned the name Moose. Let's put it that way. I also she talked about Danny Bonaducci, but I loved this.
You're not going to marry a member of the Partridge family.
He's so crucial.
He's so crucial. That is not a slang term I think I've ever heard in that way that I can recall. Like, it just wasn't a term that I was familiar with. But I liked it.
So crucial to her plan on how she wants to have her future.
Yeah. So crucial to her getting married. There was this one.
What the hell did she do now?
We're sorry, Mr. Blake. Your daughter hasn't done anything.
But is there any way we can speak with her?
Immediately him thinking that she did something. Again, coming back to Terrence isn't a good guy. He is deeply broken. And when the cops show up, which this isn't the first time either, because they came to his work. They came to him at work to ask him about it. Now they're showing up at the house because they want some more info. And I like that scene then goes to a scene with we don't hear the dialogue when the cops are questioning her. And I liked doing that just from a conceptual standpoint. We don't need to listen to them ask her questions because we've already had a scene where they're doing that. And it's going to be a lot of the same types of interactions. So instead, I like just seeing them talking to her, and we hear music over top of it and all that. And because there was no way that I wasn't going to play this, regardless of my attempting to be PG-13, this has to get played.
Jesus, what the fuck? I mean, what the fuck?
I have been there myself. Yes.
Such a honest moment for a character in a movie that you don't often get to see. It killed me. I like that. That was one of the best moments for her in the entire movie. Finney also had a few good moments, I thought. I like the opening with the baseball game. Just again, just a quick kind of get to know us moment. But what I liked is they have this rivalry moment in the game, followed up by the handshake line and the kid saying,
Man, your arm is mint. You almost had me.
"Your arm is mint." Again, another turn of phrase I don't know that I ever heard. But I like the kid, like, there's a genuine respect amongst them as baseball players. Like, you could have easily made that be like the bullies and the kid just be a complete dick to him. But I liked that. So.
Don't say was. He's my friend.
That was another good one. Don't say was when she's talking about Robin. He is my friend.
I liked Robin.
Yeah.
Oh, Robin was great. Robin had a cool uncle.
My uncle takes me to the drive-in. We see everything.
Takes him to the drive-in. Come on. I love that. I also like when he came into the room, comes in, Robin walks into the bathroom, and he goes to wash his hands off in the sink, right? He's got the bloody knuckles. And he's just using that old brown paper towel, that horrible, like, sandpaper paper towel, and masking tape. And that's his bandage.
Yep.
It's like, all he needed to be doing was chewing on glass at that point to, like, show off how tough he is.
And gratuitous Texas Chainsaw Massacre reference.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Love it. At the drive-in, no doubt. No less.
Yeah.
And when he chastises the bullies and then he just looks at them.
You can leave now.
Always love a good "you can leave now." Like, I'm done with you. Go away. And those bullies didn't mess with Finney until Robin was gone.
Mm-hmm.
I miss Robin.
Yeah. Oh, I do too. When Finney meets the grabber, I just liked, because he's heard so much already, and
Are those black balloons in there?
Yeah?
run, kid, like, immediately. If you see the black balloons, don't even question it. Just go. And
It was so fast. It was so fast.
It was.
It was like
there is a phenomenal quick blink and you'll miss it moment too in that, because Finney's walking up, sees the van, and he's given it sort of the squint and, like, the side eye, and then the grabber comes around, drops his bag of groceries, and while he's kneeled down and he asks Finney to hand him his hat, there's a quick moment where he looks over his shoulder. And I liked that because it's like he's making sure, oh, okay, let's make sure there's nobody around because I'm going to grab this kid. But I just, like, it was a blink and you miss it. You could have missed, and I almost did miss him doing that. I'm like, wait a second. I backed it up real quick just to make sure, like, no, this guy's, it's just a good moment of, they didn't have to show that, but I feel like it just added a little more to that scene to have him, like, checking his surroundings and making sure. He's already created a distraction, but now he's just going to double, triple check. This is how he doesn't get caught, and he's already grabbed 5 kids.
And remember, kids, cross the damn street.
Yeah.
Don't go towards people and ask them if they need help.
Right.
I'm not getting out of here.
The defeat at that moment. I felt so bad for Finney there. Because that was just rough. This one I had to get. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think he says that as before he starts talking to the people on the phone, the kids on the phone.
It's possible.
Because that's him. That's him trying to think of ways to get out himself.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think it was. I had to get this because this is wonderful insult work by this bully.
Coming out, dickweed.
Not fooling anyone, Noid.
He called him annoyed.
Oh, is that the thing from the pizza commercial?
Well, there was the Noid, yeah, but that came later. But I like that. I love insults like that. Those are real cheeseball ones. Come on, dickweed.
I do like dickweed as a thing that you call people. It's very close to, like, dillweed, and you know, it's just something. It's nice. It's a variety, you know, spice.
I got a couple of the voices on the phone, mostly Bruce. The first conversation on the phone was, I think, probably the most impactful in terms of just, like, because it's just shots of Finney reacting to what he's hearing. But I really liked some of these.
It's the first thing you lose.
First thing you lose when?
You know when.
Oof. You know when. And him not being able to remember his name and all of that. I thought I really liked that. And then the other kids didn't hear the phone, but the grabber does, and then Finney does, and I just...
It rang, but none of us heard it. Just you.
So they're again kind of pointing out that like there's something about Finney that is setting him apart from the other kids that were grabbed that are different, and also that the grabber can hear the phone, but he's ignoring it. Or he's trying to ignore it.
Like, the brother and sister are like Luke and Leia with the Force. But different variations. There
is an interesting dynamic going on where you have Finney and Gwen are like conflicting pair with the supernatural stuff, and then the grabber and Terrence are this conflicting pair of characters that are very differently causing problems for these two kids.
In the book, or in the short story,
mm-hmm.
they're actually born on the exact same day, but she's 3 years older than him.
Oh.
So like they always said that was some kind of connection that they had, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. I'd like to find the short and read it. I'd be interested to see how different it is.
Very, very short, and they really filled in a lot of stuff around the story. Like, the mom isn't dead in the short story. The parents just fight sometimes, and the mom doesn't want to be there. But there's no like thing like that.
That is interesting. When he's on the phone, what makes Finney realize that he's talking to Bruce is...
We met once. Your arm is mint. You almost had me.
And again, to Mason Thames, in his credit for his performance, the look on his face hearing that was real good. Because we'd have already had the it's the first thing you lose when, but then he gets this revelation that this is a voice of somebody he knows. It's just, oof. It was real tough. I also got this because, well, I'll give a reason.
You don't have much time.
It's very creepy. Mostly for creepy kid laugh over a phone. No,
creepy
thank you.
Creepy kid. Oh, you know what was a good scare, though? I'll give you that the last kid kind of just like empty ballooning his way out of the room, into the darkness. That one was like, oh, wow. But it was like a backwards jump scare, like it didn't get scary until it, to the end. But
because again, like the movie, it's the layers, it's the escalations of it. And that one was, we had seen kids in the room, but then to have him just get like yanked out like that. Yeah, that was a good one. The grabber, Ethan Hawke as the grabber, had some fantastic moments, and some real great lines. Like,
I am a part-time magician. Would you like to see a magic trick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to see a magic
rattle,
trick.
Rattle,
from
rattle,
weird
rattle.
guy. Yeah.
yeah, in the short story, he's a clown,
mm-hmm.
and he is.
I did read that.
He's depicted as like fat, and it doesn't seem very charming. And I really don't like the way he's described by Joe Hill, but whatever. I digress.
Very
I think that there are changes that work in adaptation, and I think based on just hearing that, I like what they changed.
They made him a lot more charming, I guess, sort of. Although it's like an awkward charming, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because, and like the face paint that he has as his magician persona in that moment too is very unsettling. Like everything with him is so unsettling, but in different ways. Each time you see him, it's disturbing, but it's disturbing for a different reason, whether it's the the blank face mask when he grabs Finney and Finney scratches his arm, and then immediately, like the next time we see him, he says,
I should snap your neck for what you did to my arm.
That's going for it right away. Just go straight to snap your neck. But then he immediately softens.
You don't have to be scared, because nothing bad is going to happen here.
I don't believe you, sir. I do not believe that.
Also, we have a Chekhov's neck snap. Thank you.
Ah, yes. Yes, we do.
Because that arm is mint.
Yeah, it is. But like that first mask with no mouth to it is so unsettling in its own way. And if you haven't seen any of the marketing for this, to have the reveal like that, and then the next time we see him, he's got a completely different mouth and that big grin and the whole, like, I'll scratch your face, and he does this face, and he's got like that pose as he's looking
this
up.
Face?
Oh, ugh. And the phone part too. That's when he sees him on the phone, he tells him to hang the phone up, and then he gives the description of hearing it before.
I was down here once when it rang. Ooh, creepiest damn thing.
Ooh, love that. Because again, he's trying to turn the phone into nothing because he doesn't have control over that.
Mask was one of the best things in this movie too.
Oh, that mask is so good. Like, just
13
phenomenal.
out of 13.
13 out of 13. Thank you. Yes.
And when he talks about hearing the phone ring and like, hey, I picked it up out of instinct, and he asks if there was anyone there.
No.
Dropping his voice and adding that gravel to it he did so much good work with his voice throughout the movie. And then we see him later, when Finney wakes up and he's just sitting there and he's got the smile part without the upper part of the mask, was super unsettling in its own way. But he also is like taking that top part of the mask off so his eyes aren't, so there's nothing keeping him from being able to see. And then when he walks out and he just says,
If you weren't gonna feed me, why'd you even come down here?
Just to look at you.
again, really creepy and in a very different way.
A very way.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then the next time we see him is when he brings the food in. He's got the plate of eggs with what looks like Sprite, but not. It's like lemon something. And Finney, to his credit, I like him asking, what did you put in it?
What did you put in that?
Salt and pepper.
And then the backup of that where he's like, I already got you down here. Why would I want to drug you?
Why would I need to?
Yeah, and I had some thoughts on that. Obviously he could have reasons to want to drug him. We don't know exactly why he brought him down there, right?
True.
So you never know. But he has no choice. He has to eat the food anyway.
Well, yeah, he hasn't had anything for who knows how long. He's starving.
It really sucks. It just sucks on so many levels.
And then, and every time he would come down to that door and he would stand in the doorway, and that last time he stands in the doorway with another plate of food, and you get...
Tell me your name.
Why do you care?
I usually don't.
I like that.
I think that was the first time he brought the food.
Second time.
Or no, second.
He's standing
he slams it on the ground. Yeah,
well, because he's standing in the dark, and you see his silhouette, but you can't see the mask. And he asks him about his name, and Finney lies, and then he throws the newspaper over because he already knew what it was. Right? This is playing the naughty boy game, because this is when he leaves the door unlocked. But he takes the food and he slams it down.
I almost let you go.
Like, just toying with this kid. And that's where you get the reveal of the frowning face, which I loved. I loved how he's in the dark for so much of that. And then when he steps forward, after basically it's the reveal that he knows Finney is lying, and he steps forward with that third different mask bottom and then throws the food down. And yeah, I was going to let you go.
Lies. Oh,
yep.
No, of course he wasn't, but he also I loved his little giggles and his like sighs, all the little noises he was making throughout it. So I captured a couple of those. That one was my favorite. That little, because that was right after he kills his brother. When Max is there, which the last version of his mask, right, taking the mouth, the lower portion off the mask, and only wearing the upper portion, was also incredibly disconcerting in a different way. And it's at that point, it's almost like he wants to make sure there is no question about what he's saying. He doesn't want the mask to muffle his words at all. And then he looks right at Finney after putting an axe into his brother's head.
Look what you made me do. You made me kill my brother.
Turns it, tries to turn it on to Finney. Hate that. Hate that so much.
Well, he just needed to ask his brother a question. Or was it a hatchet?
I'll
he
allow
did
it
bury
this
the
time.
hatchet.
You win.
Right in his skull.
He was so cute, though, because he's like, you want to know how I found where you were?
Yeah. But he says that to Finney, right? He says, you made me kill my brother. And then he gets the darkest that he's gotten the whole time.
I want this to really hurt.
And
well, it really hurt.
Well, and he wants to really hurt Finney. And again, with no mask, so there's no muffling to it. So it's very clear what he's telling him. And then he calls the dog down. It was really, really well. And then I had to get this of Max. This is the last one.
I knew that he was hiding something from me down here, but holy Mary, Mother of God.
Max is just so blissfully unaware of everything. And then he gets all that. And I loved, you want to know how I found you? No, I don't. I don't want to know how you found me. Just get me out of here. Which is what Finney should have been yelling at him at that point.
It was probably too late anyway, though. Like, if that dude was already on the stairs,
yeah,
it was.
No, he was.
He would have made it to the top of the stairs. That's all he would have ever made it.
Yeah,
sadly.
But I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. For the first, I'm going to watch it again. I know, Dredd, you said you don't really have any reason to watch it again, which I can understand. I mean, liked the mix.
In my defense, I've also seen it twice, so I've seen it more than you.
Fair.
So, talk to me when you see it again, okay?
I don't think that's how opinions work, but sure, okay.
I really liked, it's sort of, I'm not big on child abduction type serial killer movies. Like Faye, you mentioned that earlier, and it's sort of like how we've talked in the past about, like, I don't love home invasion horror. It's not a thing that I particularly like. But then we watched Mike Flanagan's Hush, and I loved that movie. And on paper, I shouldn't, because it's literally just home invasion horror. But it was so well done that I really enjoyed that. And it's sort of the same thing here. There was the right mix for me of the creepiness of the child abduction stuff, but also the supernatural layers to it. And we don't get reasons or backstory for the grabber. So we don't even get his name, which makes him creepier, makes him scarier. But it's in the reverse of like your true crime type stuff, where we learn about the antagonist and the killer and the bad guy. And we just have these victims. And in this, we spend time with the victims. We spend time with the kids. We meet Bruce, not for very long, but we meet him, and then Gwen has the dream about him. We meet Robin. We know who Robin is. We like Robin. And so we spend time with these kids. We even get the flashback to Pinball, was it Pinball Vance? Yeah, Pinball Vance. And like, So we get to know him a little bit. We know about who these kids are, at least to an extent, as opposed to learning anything about the killer. And so I like that flip as well.
There's definitely aesthetics to this movie that I love, like the way that it looks, the time, and just it's very pretty.
Oh, it looks great. Yeah. There's a couple of moments where I'm like, it's not quite 70s accurate, but
I'm not a stickler for that crap.
No, for the most, like they captured the feel.
Yeah.
Right. Like the baseball
not that
uniforms.
I know what the 70s felt like, but
the baseball uniforms were made in a way that didn't quite look right. But then you see all the vehicles. There's a Volkswagen. He walks by a Volkswagen bus at one point. Loved that. Mm-hmm. But like the feel of it was very late 70s. And I really like that. The music is good throughout, both the score and the licensed music that they threw in there. I quite enjoyed. It was the right mix of things. I thought it was written well with just enough to bait the hook and get me in without having to over-explain. And I liked all that. And then the visuals. The visuals for me really worked. Like every time they would have one of the little boys in the room with Finney, and he's on the phone. Some of my favorite stuff throughout it. Now, I finished this and I went and watched the sequel. Faye, you've seen the sequel, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Saw it Friday.
What did you think? We don't have to go into anything about it, but what did you think is a follow-up to this movie of the sequel?
Oh, I loved it better than the first one. And it helps the story. It continues the story and explains a lot more of the story. Lays it out.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed the sequel. I think I like the first movie a little bit better, but they are great. It's a great companion piece because it does flesh some things out, but not necessarily the things you would think.
For me, they're one story. It's just a continuation of that story. Granted, it's set years later, but it's like they took the first movie is like the first act of a full story, and then the second movie is the rest of it.
I actually saw I think it was an IMDb review where somebody didn't love the Black Phone, and they said it felt like they were watching Act 2 of a trilogy. And I didn't really agree with that, but
I see their point in that, because you would think that Act 1 would be talking about the grabber, and this would be Act 2 and then Act 3. I can kind of see that, but it wouldn't make sense at that point, because the grabber is just the antagonist. We don't really need to know about why. We care more about Finney and the family.
Right.
That should be the sitcom.
That would be that needs to be a sitcom. Finney and the Family. Tonight on Finney and the Family. No, I like the fact that we don't learn a lot about the grabber. Because I think it just makes him more effective as a villain, and it's scarier. Like, I've been on record saying it a lot. That's one of the things I like about the first Halloween, is that we don't learn a lot about Michael Myers. It's early iterations of Nightmare on Elm Street. You learn a little bit about Fred and Freddy, but we don't go deep into a backstory, and it makes him scarier to me. And that's what I like about the grabber here, is that we don't know why he does what he does. We don't know how long he's been doing what he's doing. Has he always lived here or not? That kind of stuff. And it makes him more effective. And again, Ethan Hawke's performance is just phenomenal. So, do you want to see the sequel, Monica?
I will. I will probably, looking at like the trailers and stuff, like it is worth watching. Like, it's not like I hated this movie. It's just, there were things that were missing. And I feel like watching the second one will probably answer some of those questions. But,
When when you get a chance to watch it, I do want to talk to you about it because I'm very curious if it will change how you feel about this movie or not. Like if it can somehow retroactively change your thoughts on this particular movie with the way the story goes, or if it's just one where you're like, no, I like where they went with it, but I still.
I have a feeling I'll feel kind of like Faye, where I can make it like one big movie, and it's like the continuation of that story, and that can make both pieces seem a little bit better, but it doesn't necessarily forgive the things that I didn't like in the first one. But once again, still a great movie, better than most movies.
Because I think
better than a lot of movies.
I think that when you do see Black Phone 2, that it's going to go in directions you're not anticipating. There's going to be things about it that maybe.
Well, now you're spoiling it for me.
You don't. No, I don't.
Now I'm not going to be surprised because I'm going to be expecting it.
It's fine. She'll forget us by the end of this episode.
Well, and that's the thing is I don't think that will, but I guess we'll find out. We'll find out when you do. Dredd, how about you? Do you look forward to seeing Black Phone 2 at some point, or are you just going to watch it out of a sense of obligation?
I was going to say, are you
Little
going to
from
watch
column
it
A,
out of
little
spite?
from column B.
Or out of spite.
I have not watched any of the trailers for it, and I've just read the little synopsis, not synopsis, like the little
snippet,
like the back
blurb.
flap of a book thing.
Yeah,
basically what you call it.
Yeah, snippet.
And I am interested in watching it because what I read could be interesting.
Well, I look forward to hearing your thoughts on that as well.
Yeah.
I highly recommend this movie, especially I'm such a fan of Derrickson and Cargill and their storytelling style and their visual style. Like Derrickson's visual style just works for me. So I definitely recommend this
Sinister. One. Just the trailer alone is scary. It's too scary.
I think also here's another thing I want to touch on real quick before we end is I think that this is a good mix of being heavier subject matter but also approachable in a way for horror. It's definitely not your like instantly approachable horror that you could just say to anybody who's like interested. Like last week we talked about Vampires versus the Bronx, right? And how that was like you could be like, hey, here's a good entry into horror or horror
like
elements.
Yeah.
This isn't that, but I think that if you are into or interested in horror as an adult, this is the type of movie that can get you into it because it is intense without being super gory, like some movies can get.
It's much like one of them thrillers. How am I talking here? Like a thriller, like the way you see. I can't think of a thriller off the top of my head, but you get what I'm saying.
A good example would be the first Conjuring.
Well, that's a horror movie. But
it is a horror movie, but it is not a bloody horror movie.
Think of.
Yeah. No, this movie is more of a thriller with paranormal activity in it. Exactly. Not necessarily a horror movie because of the paranormal.
It's still, we'll mince words. Like it's still considered a horror because of the horror, but it borders on the thriller. Like any movie, like my mom would watch because she doesn't watch horror movies, but she'll watch like something where there's like suspense and there's creepiness and stuff, but there's not necessarily like ghosts and.
I mean, just go back to all the '90s thrillers with Denzel Washington and stuff, like Bone Collector and was it?
I mean,
well, there's that, or like I mean, this again. I don't know that I would Seven,
yeah.
Or Silence of the Lambs, or those kinds of movies that border on and have horror elements to them, but also very heavily in the thriller category.
Yes. Yeah. So still horror, but has that thriller edge that a lot of people who, besmirch horror will be like, well, I'll watch this because technically it's not some kooky ghost waving its hands around or something. Like it's, well, I guess technically
they do, but not in the way that you think.
And I think that lends to the approachability of it. Because I also think that it's got horror elements, but because they don't overdo the the effects and makeup work in it is very good, but it's not over the top. It's not even to the bloody levels of like some of the Scream movies or things like that.
It's definitely not a slasher.
And so that's where kind of my approachability of it is like somebody who maybe doesn't love a lot of the gore, but likes some of the suspenseful elements of a horror film can watch something like this.
Yeah, just not really any gore in it. I mean, there's the cut of his arm.
Broken ankle. Oh my God.
Oh, that was that was that was
axe
rough.
to the head. That's about as the gory. It's mostly like in your imagination kind of stuff.
Well, and that's the other part of it too, is we don't ever get a definitive what he did to the kids.
Exactly.
Which is both easier in terms of like visuals, but at the same time a lot scarier because we don't know, and so our imagination starts to fill all that in. So I think kudos to them for that. So I do like this movie quite a bit. And I'm glad that I got to watch it, but I'm also glad, like, Faye, you got to see it finally. And, you know, that we got to talk about it because I really liked it and it didn't hit the same for the rest of you, which is fine. But at the same time, like, Monica, you've said a couple of times, like, it's well made. It's a good movie. It just didn't land for you.
It's like, I always say, like horror it's like ice cream. It's just different flavors. There's different flavors you can get, and something's going to be Rocky Road, which might be your favorite, and something is vanilla, and you're like, I enjoy vanilla. Could I have some sprinkles, please? This analogy's not going anywhere.
It's actually
100% does.
Yeah, that works 100% because, like, ice cream, you basically like ice cream,
like,
but some flavors of ice cream.
Slasher flavor is like that's my home, you know. Not everybody likes that, but that's just like where I am. Everybody, another slasher, Monica. Okay, here we go again.
Well, that is going to wrap up the GORE Podcast takeover for 2025 of Wait You Haven't Seen. I love doing this every year. This is so much fun because we all like horror movies in a lot of ways differently. And I enjoy that. I like a movie like this. Dread likes something with sharks in it. And you know what? That's fine.
Oh,
and
did we ever mention Tom Savini made the mask, by the way?
What's that?
Tom Savini made the mask. Did we mention that?
We did not.
We alluded to it.
We did allude.
If Tom Savini designed the mask?
Yeah.
Oh,
or something
that explains why it was so good.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Really, really good.
That is honestly one of the best, like, just masks, period, that I've seen in a long time. Because of the different elements to it, and just it's creepy as hell. And love that. I didn't realize it was Finney. That's cool. Well, we like talking about horror, but Monica, we talk about horror a lot more than just in October on this show. So remind people where they can find the four of us talking about other horror movies.
Yes,
both good
we talk about horror movies on a regular basis all year long, usually twice a month, don't judge me, on the podcast called GORE. And we have so much fun on that show, I like to pretend. There's skits, there's comedy, unintentional comedy, there's other fun stuff. And you can check out that show at gorepodcast.com, or you can go to patreon.com/gore13 and be a patron and get merch and be our friends and join the super secret Discord. There's a lot of things.
There is. And it's a fun show, and we do have fun making that. We really do. We watch the whole spectrum of horror, from possibly the worst thing I've ever seen in a film to some incredible horror that is just amazing. So I love the spectrum of horror that we get to check out. It's a lot of fun, and you definitely want to.
We got some great stuff
watch more of
coming
that.
up. Can I just say, like, episode 100's coming up soon.
Hey, what do you know? 100 episodes. 100 episodes.
Yeah.
I just like to take a moment. I want to take a moment and say, like, That's incredible that we're coming up on 100 episodes of Gore.
I don't even know how. And that's twice a month, give or take.
So phenomenal. Check out Gore, gorepodcast.com. Find Gore. It's either Gore Podcast or Gore 13 on the socials. It's whatever it happens to be out there. Find us. Go to gorepodcast.com. You'll find everything there.
GORE Podcast, I think. I should have written this stuff down.
Now, I do this show, What You Haven't Seen, every week. And I don't know how to stop. And
He needs help.
I'm not done with horror movies because next week, my next episode, Tom Norman is coming back on the show. And I am taking him slowly through the Friday the 13th catalog. So we are, he was on to watch Friday the 13th for the first time about a year ago. And I'm going to make him watch Friday the 13th part 2. And that is what's coming up next week. Tom will be back. I can't wait. It's going to be fun. It's always fun to
Gore episode about it.
I will definitely be mentioning that for sure. So you can get even more in-depth analysis on something like Gore. But yeah, Friday the 13th part 2. I'm excited for that. And then I have a website, tvstravis.com. You can find links to this show. There's links to the Gore Podcast website there, all the episodes of stuff that I do, and my Patreon, which is patreon.com/WYHS, which lets me do live remote shows at things like Dragon Con or next year's Nerdtacular. Just keep me doing this show. So if you do enjoy it and you can back it, I appreciate that. And yeah, so next week, Friday the 13th, part 2. I can't wait for that. But Faye, Monica, Wesley, as always, thank you so much for being here, for doing this with me, for putting up with me. I think on the whole this year, we only did 4 episodes. But I think on the whole, it was good. It was good stuff that we watched. Malevolent was the worst of the 4. And it wasn't like it was the worst thing we've ever seen, but it fell apart.
You know, when your standards are so low at this point.
I mean, that's fair. But like it had its moments and then it just sort of fell off a cliff. But like Body Bags was a lot of fun. I was so glad I finally got to see that. We all had fun with Vampires versus the Bronx, which is great. And overall, The Black Phone, we all agree it was well made and it just hit better for some of us. So, but yeah, that's going to do it. So until next time and Friday the 13th, Monica, Faye, Dredd, thank you all for being here. And thank you all for listening. Remember to enjoy your movies and be excellent to each other. There's been Wait You Haven't Seen.
Yeah, I took him down because obviously I'm the grabber, you dumb fucking fart knockers.
Gwendolyn Blake!
Oh, she was great.